Today on the EMBA Radio Network.
I've never been involved in something as meaningful as this, and neither has my wife.
Charley Donaldson's wife, Lindsay, says her motivation came during her mother's battle with cancer. She wanted to find a way to send her mother constant love and support from friends, family, and co-workers.
I don't have to think about finding the right words or not reaching out because I can't think of the right words or wanting to, or I don't want to bother that person. Within 2 touches of my smartphone, I can send them something like, I'm thinking about you today.
Together, the couple started Caring Band, an app that connects by Bluetooth to a wearable bracelet that lights up and sends a pulse to the user. It's designed to give loved ones or even total strangers who are sick, injured, isolated, or alone in situations a one-way messaging system to lift their spirits and let them know someone is thinking of them. The pandemic has reminded us how difficult it can be to be away from loved ones, especially in a time of extreme need like illness. Caring Band co-founder Charley Donaldson, a 2009 Rice Business alum, is joining us this morning. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing, Charley?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Christine?
Good. I know you've co-founded Caring Band with your wife, Lindsay. Can you give us a little background as to how this idea all started?
It was really one of those wake up at night idea kind of things that my wife had almost 3 years ago now, where her mom had just thankfully won a successful battle with breast cancer, but she was like, or Lindsay just thought at the time that she's thinking about her mom all the time, so many times a day, and her sisters and friends and family were the same way, and so she just thought it would be really neat to have a way for her mom to know that. A lot of Lindsay's thoughts would result in some sort of an outreach, a text or phone call, and she spent lots of time with her, but it wasn't even close to the amount of time that her mom crossed her mind. And so that's where Caring Band was formed, or the idea of Caring Band was formed, as really just a simple way to let someone know that you're thinking about them.
Charley, help us understand the benefit of Caring Band and how it works.
The real benefit for Caring Band is just the nature of how we communicate, right? So Caring Band is really the combination of a notification bracelet, which we've talked about, and an app, and the communication that is sent from someone that's thinking about another person is simple, and it's one way. And so I don't have to think about finding the right words or not reaching out because I can't think of the right words or wanting to, or I don't want to bother that person. Within 2 touches of my smartphone, I can send them something like, I'm thinking about you today, right? And that's it. They get a notification on their bracelet and one on their phone that says, Charley Donaldson just sent you a message. They can see their message. They don't have to respond to it. They can check, they don't have to check their message right away at all, right? They can check them at their leisure. So that's one of the big differentiators between that and something like sending a text. The typical use case for Caring Band is really meant to be a gift that you buy someone that's going through a particular situation, or someone that you just want to have a Caring Band bracelet so that every time you're thinking about that person, you can let them know easily. Again, within just 2 touches of your smartphone, you can send that person messages literally as many times as you want, and just fill them up with love and joy. And that's really the simplicity of it is really unique, especially in a world where there's tons of wearables in the market that do 1,000 different things at least. Caring Band was created for one purpose only, and so that's what we think is really cool, and that's what has resonated a lot with our user base.
You guys have such a personal story related to this. Why is this just so important to you to share with others?
That is super important because that is the root of this project and really company is really to increase the frequency of support that's out in the world. And like I said, with the background and why this was an idea that my wife had, just the idea that the current mediums of communication whether it be texts or emails or phone calls. They're all great and have a place, but they are limiting, whether we know that or not, for lots of different reasons. And, unfortunately just leave too many uncommunicated thoughts, that are unsaid or uncommunicated, and ultimately resulting in lost encouragement. And so that's why it's important for us to get this message out, because it is such an impactful medium of communication. And we know that now, especially after having gone through our pilot, which we launched this past summer. That was an opportunity for us really to, validate and validate many of the beliefs and assumptions we had about this concept. And really, it's one of the main reasons that drives us each and every day is the fact that we now know what Caring Band means to people, especially those that are going through difficult times. We launched a pilot with our prototype and a fully functioning mobile app that's available even now on Apple and Google. And so we saw that, in times where, let's say if it's a someone that's going through a battle with cancer or physical rehab, they've got a lot of people, cheering for them and rooting them on, but many times they don't know that. Often I guess they would feel that, they would sense that, but there's really no way to know unless that person reaches out to you. And so Caring Band is just a way, again, for you to simply let someone know you're thinking about them. And so we've just seen that come through so many times through our beta testers, which really inspired us to take this to the next level and to turn this into a scalable company to where we can get it to the masses.
I was watching some of the videos that show the demonstration and how the wrist lights up with the bracelet when someone is wearing it. And beyond the messages, I feel like there's some symbolism with light in just, showing people light. Was that by design, or is that just sort of a side impact of what you developed?
Yeah, no, that was definitely by design. So the notification bracelet, the Caring Band bracelet, is like you said, it does light up when a new message is received, but it also gives a gentle pulse vibration. So you have a touch, component to it, which is super impactful, and then you have the light, which symbolizes so many positive things. And so those two touch points, or those two features of the Caring Band bracelet were by design. Yes.
How is this different from receiving a text or a message on social media?
The key differentiator of the Caring Band platform is really the one-way nature of it. And so why that's important is for someone that's going through a struggle, a lot of times they do have outreach from friends and family, and sometimes that gets overwhelming, with having to respond to text messages and things like that. And so that's one of the main reasons we developed the Caring Band platform is to create this burdenless experience, or burdenless form of communication that you're sending a note, a message of encouragement and love to someone that you're thinking about, and they don't have to reciprocate, and really they can't with the Caring Band platform. It's just kind of a one-way channel of communication for them to feel joy and encouragement and love. The other reason that it's very different from a text or even social media, like you said, is from the standpoint of anyone that has the Caring Band app can search for other users. And as long as that, the users that they're searching for have their default settings on, they can be found and sent encouraging messages. So the Caring Band platform is a really unique way to rally the troops to support someone that you're thinking about better than you could and safer than you could through, like I said, traditional forms of communication like text. You're likely not going to blast your mother's phone number to the world to have her be encouraged, right? For lots of different reasons.
Right.
But with the Caring Band app, you can absolutely put it on your social media page, or send it to your church congregation and say, hey, look, pray for my mom. There's lots of different, situations that we've had through our pilot that showed, just the power of the network effect, especially when it has to do with caring for someone that you love.
We know the pandemic has certainly raised awareness of how many people are sick alone or even dying alone. How has this changed, or I guess impacted or improved even your value proposition?
Caring Band platform has never been more relevant for the reasons that you spoke about. And I guess the only real negative with Caring Band right now is that we don't have bracelets available. And so that's something that we're working on, extremely hard right now. I'm sure we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But, there are so many cases that we see, and we see those daily where, people are in the hospital alone and they can't have visitors. We've had 2 family members that have had hospital stays and they're alone. And I couldn't think of anything worse. We actually did have, this was 1 week ago, our very first beta tester, she received a first Caring Band bracelet this past July, and her cancer came back and she was admitted to MD Anderson. And for the first 3 days in her hospital stay, she was alone. And it was a super scary time for her because the cancer had spread, and there was a lot of unknowns. And so, again, talk about a terrible and tragic situation, but made worse with isolation and loneliness. But she did reach out to my wife after the first day that she was in, just saying her Caring Band bracelet was going off like crazy, and that meant the world to her. And so, for us, although our hearts were breaking for this particular user, we were happy that we were able to bring her joy. In that story, on a positive note, MD Henderson did let her daughter stay with her for her remaining stay through surgery and post recovery, and she's home now. So it ended up being a really good story. This would have been a phenomenal opportunity for us to really spread the Caring Band mission through this time, but fortunately, it looks like this COVID area, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're back to normal by the time Caring Band bracelets are available later this fall. But should we be in this same situation, we feel like Caring Band could do a lot of good.
I would think that positivity and a good attitude can have a difference in your recovery. So you could ultimately be impacting the actual medical treatment with this band by just giving someone positive and uplifting their spirits.
Yeah, absolutely. We think so too. I mean, and there have been a lot of studies about this. It is somewhat well documented, just the correlation between positive mental state and recovery and effects on health outcomes. So we absolutely feel like Caring Band would be a great facilitator for that. Interestingly, this was a study done back in the late 60s by a psychiatrist named Jerome Matto, and his hypothesis was just simple acknowledgments of caring towards patients that had been admitted to the hospital for suicidal thoughts and depression. Just simple acknowledgments of caring could prevent suicide. And so what he did was really interesting. So in a study of, I believe, like 850 of those such patients, for the next 5 years, he sent half of that list, or half of that patient group, just 2-sentence caring letters, like once a quarter, for the next 5 years. And what the study found was that the rate of suicide was half for the group that received the letters than for the group that did not. And so while we can't say that Caring Band would deliver that same type of outcome, I do feel like it's very similar in that it is a platform to let someone know you care, and they don't have to have cancer. They don't have to have a serious illness. It can be something as simple as, I'm thinking about my wife and I, we both have the Caring Band app, and I don't always wear the bracelets, but sometimes I do. But even without the bracelet, I can send her I'm thinking of you. I can send her, one of our preset messages, and I do so daily. And that's kind of an interesting way and fun way that we lift each other up. So
this pandemic has impacted, every business in some way. How has it actually impacted, your physical production and sort of your timeline in all of this?
That's a bit of an unknown right now, because you never know until you actually, to the finish line in terms of mass production. We're at the finish line with our final production design work, and now we're in the process of selecting our manufacturers and going through and getting them started on molds and production. But from what we can tell so far is all the components that make up the Carrying Band bracelet are readily available. We have backup components as well. So given our product and the simplicity of it, I don't think we're going to have an issue. Like I said, I'll be able to say for sure once we get down the road. But my best guess and what I'm being told by our partners is that we're not going to have an issue from a timeline perspective or a component resource perspective as well. I think from a business standpoint, we're lucky in the sense that it's just me and my wife, and we do have we have a third co-founder, Aaron. It's just us. We don't pay ourselves salaries. Our overhead is extremely low, so we have staying power to weather the storm, which is from a business standpoint, it makes our startup a little bit more protected than some of the others.
Right. I know you've launched a Kickstarter campaign. Can you talk about that and what your goal is and the progress right now?
Yeah, we launched our Kickstarter campaign this week, and really the goal there was to pre-sell Carrying Band bracelets, and in an effort to make our first production run as large as possible, better terms with suppliers and manufacturers, and make sure we can meet our minimum order requirements. From a funding perspective, we're completely funded through our design work and even the manufacturing setup and even a small run of inventory. But the successful Kickstarter campaign will allow us to produce. Our goal is to produce over 5,000 bracelets in the first manufacturing run, and so a successful Kickstarter campaign will help us do that. It's also really good from a market research standpoint, even though we have a great insight into the user aspect of Carrying Band. To date, we have not yet tested Carrying Band from a marketing perspective, so we're learning a lot about messaging and especially with this type of product, which is so unique because of the sensitive aspect of it, and it's something that we're kind of struggling with right now, just because it's a product that I hope you don't have to buy for someone that's sick or going through a terrible time. But on the other hand, we know the reality is there's a lot of sickness in the world, and chances are you probably know someone who's going through a tough time, and so we know that Carrying Band will bring that situation joy. So in that sense, I do want to sell it to you. So, but getting that message, whether it's digital or social media, in a 4-second or 7-second view space has been a little bit challenging.
Right. And explaining what it does and the benefits.
That's right.
I also saw you can donate. Is it donate one to Ronald McDonald, or tell us how that works?
Yeah, so on our Kickstarter campaign, we give our backers the option to donate a bracelet to Ronald McDonald House. They have been part of our pilot phase, and we have a relationship with a couple of different Ronald McDonald houses, and we have committed to donating bracelets to their families. And so this is just a unique way for our Kickstarter backer community. If they don't know of someone who could benefit from the Carrying Band platform right now, we know lots of people that can. And so that's one of the main reasons for that donation option.
As you look ahead, what is your ultimate goal for Carrying Band?
So the ultimate goal for Carrying Band is really to be synonymous with the standard of care, right? From an emotional perspective, when someone's sick or in the hospital right now, and you're thinking about a gift to buy them, the standard is, I'll send them flowers or balloons, or cookies or chocolates, but those are one-time things, and then those die or those get eaten. but the Caring Band platform is, I know it's cliche, but it's really the gift that keeps on giving, and the joy that comes from that, which again we've seen firsthand, is a gift that anyone would want to give someone. So yeah, when I think about Caring Band long term, that's how I think about it. Is when we all get faced with friends, loved ones that are going through difficult times, and even those that we've learned a lot of interesting use case hypotheses over the past several months from people familiar with Caring Band, saying, "Oh, this would be great for the mom who travels for work and she wants to give a bracelet to her her daughter at home and just let her know that she's thinking about her." Or we have some amateur marathon runners who think this would be a really good idea to wear during a race and get notifications from your family and friends at that last mile when you want to quit. I say amateur because they're serious marathon runners. Probably would not want to wear an extra wearable. But to that end, I will say, and we haven't touched on this, but we did build Caring Band so that it was, at least the app could be integrated with the Apple Watch and other smartwatches. So you can download the Caring Band app right now, and if you're a smartwatch wearer and that's all you want to wear, the Caring Band app will communicate with that and let you know that someone's thinking about you. So that's a really cool feature. And my wife, who's the chief caring officer of the company, she's really been the force behind maintaining our mission, right? Which is, to increase the encouragement, and we don't really care how it gets there, just as long as it does. And so, even though from a business case, we're not gonna see, revenue from that situation where someone's wearing their own device and using the Caring Band app. That's a completely free experience for them. But from our perspective, it's more encouragement in the world than it was there otherwise. So we're okay with that.
I could definitely see, expanded uses from men and women who work offshore to military, a lot of different situations. Maybe someone isn't in the hospital or sick, but just in a situation where maybe they're alone and could use some support.
And we've seen that through our pilot. There are several users, and I guess by way of background, we gave Caring Band bracelets to about 25 users over the course of an 8-week period, and the results were phenomenal. We saw on average 30 people download the Caring Band app to support one bracelet user, and an average, and it really depended on the situation, whether it was a defined period. So, for example, we had one particular young girl in California who had a heart defect, and so she 2 weeks prior to her surgery, she received a Caring Band bracelet, and her family just started posting it and blasting it on social media. So we saw a huge. I think she was getting on average 200 notifications a day, for that 2-week period leading up to her surgery, and then the 1 week, or I think that's about what it was for her recovery. But after that, when she was done, her notification activity stopped. She was better. She's not wearing the Caring Band bracelet anymore. So for those cases, it can be very much a short-term wearable situation. But for others, it could be something that's with them forever.
When you see the benefit to families from this, how does it make you and your wife feel?
So for me, this was a project that was squarely in the passion project realm, and I was okay with that. Once we saw the impact of the Caring Band platform on our actual users, it shifted from only a passion project to a passion project, and we have to do justice by this and put our best foot forward to make this a real thing, because of the joy that it brings us personally from developing this project. I've never been involved in something as meaningful as this, and neither has my wife. And so that's hugely motivating every day, and all the ups and downs of, entrepreneurship, especially, when it comes to going into uncharted waters as we have over the last 2 years. Neither one of us are technologists, and yet we're trying to we're developing a software and hardware product. There's obviously a lot of challenges that come along with that, but it's that passion and that drive and knowing that what we're doing makes a huge difference that keeps us going.
And I would imagine in some situations when someone is, incredibly ill, even reaching over to pick up their phone is going to be difficult. So having just that wearable right there with them could make a difference.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we have heard that from several of our users that some of which are going through some pretty difficult struggles right now. And just them knowing that they get a gentle pulse vibration on their wrist, and then a series of flashing lights, and that's really it. And actually one of our users just she calls it her butterflies. She gets butterflies every time she gets a notification on her bracelet, and so that is that's just pretty cool.
Charley Donaldson, co-founder of Caring Band. Charley, we thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Christine. Appreciate having me.
For more information, go to caringband.com. You can pre-order bracelets, or if you'd like to help with the Kickstarter campaign, click on the icon on the website. If you don't have a sick loved one, you can make a difference through the Ronald McDonald House by purchasing a bracelet for a donation of $29. Charley says he's always seeking feedback on the product. You can find him on LinkedIn. You've been listening to the EMBA Radio Network, a production of Dobbin Digital Media.